El Paso Tenants speak out. Unsafe apartment conditions, retaliation claims exposed. Imagine living in a home where the walls crumble, the plumbing fails, and the only response is an eviction notice. That's the reality for tenants at a Northeast El Paso apartment complex, where a bitter clash over maintenance and retaliation has sparked outrage and questions about who's really at fault. But here's where it gets controversial. The property manager claims tenants are using media attention to dodge rent, while residents argue they're being punished for demanding basic living conditions. And this is the part most people miss: the financial and emotional toll on low-income families who can't afford to leave, even when their homes are unsafe. The apartment complex at 4944 Titanic Avenue has become a battleground. Tenants, both current and evicted, allege the landlord and property manager have ignored critical maintenance issues for months. From broken windows and mold-infested walls to carbon monoxide detectors that don't work. One resident, Kimberly Peterson, shared a harrowing story of being evicted after reporting a plumbing disaster. Feces and black sludge overflowing from her tub into her bedroom. She claims the landlord offered to waive 2 months' rent in exchange for relocating to a new unit, but later used her unpaid rent as a reason to evict her. Other tenants, who asked to remain anonymous out of fear of retaliation, described similar struggles. They spoke of days without water or electricity, broken doors, and a property manager who allegedly threatened to withhold repairs unless rent was paid in cash. One recently evicted resident said, "They collect rent every month but don't fix anything. If you don't pay, they say, we want to evict people." The financial strain is crushing. Many tenants have had to pay for repairs themselves, draining their savings just to stay in homes that should be maintained by the landlord. Maria Morales, the property manager, denies the allegations. She argues that most of the complainants are former tenants with unpaid rent and claims they've used media threats to avoid accountability. She insists maintenance requests are handled legally and that claims about cash-only payments and unsafe conditions are false. However, she also revealed a darker side. Some tenants have allegedly threatened her personally, making it unsafe to collect rent in person. "This has created a hostile environment for me and other residents," she said. So who's telling the truth? Is this a case of neglect and exploitation, or a misunderstanding of responsibilities? The situation raises uncomfortable questions about power imbalances in rental housing. Are landlords obligated to fix issues before evicting tenants, or do unpaid bills justify legal action? And what happens when tenants can't afford to hire lawyers to fight back? We want to hear your thoughts. Do you believe the landlord is retaliating, or are these tenants simply struggling with financial obligations? Share your perspective in the comments below. Living nightmare. Central Park Tower residents expose unhealthy conditions, safety concerns. Living in luxury should never feel like a daily struggle for safety and dignity. That's the grim reality for residents of Omaha's Central Park Tower, where complaints about hazardous conditions and unresponsive management have turned into a full-blown crisis. But here's where it gets controversial. The building's new management claims they're doing everything they can, while tenants like 74-year-old Daniel Luckett argue the situation is deteriorating by the day. And this is the part most people miss. The real problem isn't just poor maintenance, but a systemic failure to protect vulnerable residents. Imagine moving into a modding apartment complex in 2021, only to find your hallway carpet soaked in mold and your lobby sweltering without air conditioning. That's the nightmare Luckett describes, calling the conditions just a mess. He's not alone. Other tenants report seeing homeless individuals and trash scattered in common areas, while the leasing office operates on a strict appointment-only basis, making it nearly impossible to speak with on-site staff. "I just fear for my safety all the time," Luckett admits. "I'm not a strong man anymore." Cohen-Esrey, the Kansas-based company that took over management last year, insists they're addressing concerns. Regional Vice President James Deal mentions protocols for weekly on-site visits, partnerships with Omaha Police Department during the day, and a 24/7 security team. They also highlight pest control services and a banned and barred list to remove problematic individuals. But for residents like Lucat, these measures feel like empty promises. It's not safe for the elderly and the disabled. It just is not, he says, echoing the frustration of others who've been shuffled between units with unresolved issues like bedbugs and malfunctioning systems. Deal's response raises a critical question. Is management truly prioritizing residents' well-being, or are they simply deflecting responsibility? While the company encourages tenants to reach out with concerns, lukewarm reassurances don't fix mold-infested hallways or broken AC units. Meanwhile, Omaha's chief housing inspector has yet to respond to inquiries, leaving residents in limbo. Could stricter regulations or oversight be the missing piece? Or is this a case of corporate negligence masked as staffing transitions? We want to hear from you. Do you think property managers should be held to higher standards for vulnerable populations like the elderly and disabled? Share your thoughts below. After all, housing should be a right, not a risk. And until someone answers the phone at that appointment-only leasing office, the nightmare for Central Park Tower residents shows no sign of ending. Dept inspections reveal apartment infestations in Maryland City. Brace yourself for this. Low-income families living at a Maryland City apartment complex say their daily lives have become a nightmare since new management stepped in. Think overflowing trash, swarms of pests, and sweltering heat without a working air conditioner. Their mounting complaints to the Anne Arundel County Health Department are only growing louder. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite management's claims of improvement, residents argue that real progress is moving at a snail's pace. Health inspectors from Anne Arundel County have backed up residents' concerns, verifying many of the problems through multiple site visits. Since M3 management took over in 2024, people living at the Elms at Laurel Park Apartments report recurring rodent and insect problems, garbage left to pile up, and continuing repairs that leave basic comforts, like air conditioning, unresolved for lengthy stretches. And when the air conditioning failed amidst a heat wave, management handed out free ice cream to tenants. Nice gesture? Maybe, but people living there say it was a rather inadequate response to the punishing temperatures indoors. The backdrop? The Elms at Laurel Park is a privately run complex with 254 units, and it participates in the federal Section 8 program. This means it's home to many tenants whose rent is subsidized by government vouchers, though M3 management won't say exactly how many folks rely on this assistance. It's a detail that could matter. Does oversight for subsidized housing need to be more rigorous? Or do property managers face challenges most people never see? And this is the part most people miss. Should a simple treat be considered meaningful help in a crisis, or is it just a distraction from real solutions? Does affordable housing come with unavoidable trade-offs, or do tenants deserve better regardless of cost? Now it's your turn. What do you think? Are resident demands reasonable, or is property management doing what it can with limited resources? Let's hear your take below.